Hello and welcome to Katrinas Creations. This is the Saturday edition. I have no finished objects, but I have some projects that I am working on. So I'm going to show you those, but if you haven't already, please consider clicking that little red button below to subscribe. And if you give me a thumbs up for this video, I really do appreciate it. It does help the analytics for YouTube. So we are 25 people away, or subscribers away, from hitting our next 100 subscribers, which means when we hit that next 100 subscribers, we will be doing a yarn giveaway. So what I am wearing today is my February ladies sweater. It's a swing sweater, meaning it kind of is A-lined, so it's figure flattering. It has a lace detail at the arms and like below the bodice here. So it just has buttons like halfway down where the yoke is, and then it is all the lace. So I'm going to insert some footage of me modeling it if you haven't seen the sweater before. So now we'll get started with my works in progress. I have a hexagon blanket, if you've been following the channel, that I made finished it a few weeks ago. It fits our king size bed, but I wanted it to hang over. I think it's a total of 440 hexagons, but it doesn't hang over enough to make a bedspread out of it. So I've been going around and around and around to make the border longer. I figured it out. It is literally 30 feet every time I go all the way around, because it's 7.5 feet wide, 7.5 feet tall. So altogether, yeah, it's 30 feet to go all the way around. And some of it is like zigzag, so I'm sure it eats up a little bit more than that. So yeah, it takes a while. So I have gotten 2 complete rows. I'm partway through the an additional third row so far. The 2 yarns that I've added this week are a green one. If you remember it's been quite a while back, I made a green sweater. It's yarn from that leftover sweater, and the kind of 70s color yarn that's in there, like fall colors and stuff, that was called Groovy, and that was yarn that I got from Knit Crate years ago, that I put into a sweater, ripped it apart, I've cut it apart, I've tied it back together, and I always liked the colors, so I didn't want to get rid of the yarn. So now I found a way I can use it, because I can crochet the ends where I've tied pieces in together. I can crochet it in and it doesn't show. So I'm finally getting so I'm finally coming up with a use for that yarn that I like. So those are the 2 rows that I have put on this week. I'll insert a picture so you can check it out. So next I'll move on to my knitted project. I am on the last ball of the multicolor yarn, and I have a little bit left of the green. This is the Keeping You in Stitches shawl, which is one of my pattern designs that I am doubling, but I've been jokingly calling it the taco salad shawl. You'll see why when I hold it up if you haven't seen it already. It's going to be a massive shawl, it really is, but here it is. It goes all the way across. This is the actual center of the shawl, right about in here, and then it starts down this side. I think last week I was still in this section, so I have gone all the way through here now. The color's changing over to purple, which you can see in here. That's what it's going to look like. So there's going to be a red after the purple. So yeah, and this is long too. The center section here, if I wrap this around me, it will hang down to my hips. And this is before it's blocked. So this is going to be a substantial shawl. See if I can wrap it around me as it is, and you can see. Yes, this is going to be a good-sized shawl. I do like the colors. They're growing on me. I've always liked the colors. It's just trying to think what in the world I'm going to wear this with, but it is really soft because it's merino wool. So yeah, I'm hoping, now it's caught on my sweater, I'm hoping to have it finished for next week so I can get it blocked and show it to you. So that's my knitted project, and it's going fast at this point because it's narrowing back down. It's a shawl where it's asymmetrical technically, where you start small, you get to the widest point, and that's where the shawl normally would end, but I'm picking up and decreasing, doing the pattern backwards, coming back down. So I'm on the decreases, and I think my stitch count at this point is like 80 something, so it's going pretty quick. So I'm hoping to get it done for next week. And my last project that I'm working on is a continuous C2C, and I lost part of my yarn here. This is the end of my third skein. I started this last week. This goes so quick. I'm using a tutorial from Terry of Yarn Joy podcast, and you make these blocks. Let's see if I can hold it this way. So you can see how my colors are gradiating back and forth. And I'm working on the 6th, I've done the 6th block, and now I'm starting to come down the other side, because when you do these continuous joins, you do your 6 blocks or however many blocks down, and then it turns and comes back up, and then it turns and goes back down to however wide you want. Now I am finding that I am getting roughly 3 blocks per skein. I have a total of 9 skeins of yarn. So in theory, I have enough yarn for 27 blocks, but 27 is an odd number. So I was trying to figure out how am I going to work it, because the initial pattern was 5 blocks tall, 4 blocks wide, which would be 20, which means I would have a good bit of yarn left. And I'd like it to be bigger, so I want to use the yarn that I have. So I thought about doing 5 over 5 and making a square one, but I'd rather have something that's long enough to throw over my legs. So I decided I'm going to do a 6 by 4. Is that what I came out? Yeah, 6 by 4. So it'll be 24 blocks total, which will technically use 8 skeins of yarn. So I should have 1 skein of yarn left. I thought about doing 28, which would be 4 across and 7 tall, but I honestly think that would look out of proportion. It would look like narrow and tall, you know, tall and skinny. I think it would be too much. So I'm just going with the 4 by 6, and yeah, we'll call it done at that point. And I have an extra skein of yarn to do with whatever. I could do edging on it if I wanted to do that, or I just have some extra yarn, because the yarn I'm using is actually very nice. It is tonal hues, and it is put out, I bought it from Mary Maxim. It is a bag-o-day creation, or where she partners with somebody to come up with it. Yeah, so that's what it is. I do like the yarn. It comes in various colors. The color that I have, I think, is called Not for the Money, something like that, because it's green, but they have it in other colors. It's extremely soft. It is really soft. I have found that it is slightly splitty because it's twisted, but it's not twisted in some points as tight as other points. So I have found it to be a little bit splitty, but not to the point I didn't enjoy working with it. So but it is really, really super soft. So I'm real happy with that. Then I have an upcoming project. This is proud grandma moment, because my oldest grandson, who's 21, he's always had a good head on his shoulders. He's actually buying his first house at 21 years old. So I'm really proud of him for that. But anyway, I was talking with his mom, my daughter, yesterday, and I was like, you know, I want to do something for housewarming for him. And I said I'd make him an Afghan or something for the house, but I don't want him to feel like, you know, it's grandma's house, you know, because younger generation might not appreciate a crocheted or knitted blanket in their house, and I didn't want to overstep. So I asked her, and she says, well, I'll ask him, see what he thinks. I got a text back this morning. It says, yes, please, and I'd like it in dark blue. So I said, Done. We can do that. So that is going to be Friday's video this week. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. But yeah, so I have an upcoming project already for my next crochet project because he moves on the 20th of March. I don't know if it'll be done that soon, but yeah, Grandma will be working on that to fulfill any wish a grandson has, because it warms my heart when one of my grandkids wants something that I've made. So yes, you guys that are grandmas, you understand. So anyway, I'm excited about that, and I'm anxious to get started, so I'm going to be buying the yarn for that on Monday. So yeah, so that's what I've been working on this week. What have you been working on? So I want to say a special thank you to all of you that contribute to Show and Tell. I really do appreciate it. That segment would be very boring if there was nothing in there for people to see. So it is open to any of you who would like to post a project. You can contact me at KatrinasCreations@yahoo.com, or you can post a picture over on my Facebook page, which is Katrina Knits. Just tell me your name and a little bit about the project or what kind of yarn. Tell me whatever you would like to about that project. It doesn't need to be necessarily knitting or crochet. It can be quilting, it can be diamond art, whatever craft you are into currently. And it also does not need to be a project you just completed. If it's something you made years ago but you think, you know, it's an interesting project or something you're especially proud of, we would love to see it. So yes, please send your entries over to my Facebook page or my email account. So if you missed Monday and Tuesday's video, the hotel horror, yeah, that was awful. It was like the worst trip I think we've ever taken. It was one problem after another. If you missed that and you want to check out the like I said, hotel horror, you can check the link right here. That'll take you over to it. Yeah, you can kind of like go at the same time like we did. And I even left out some of the parts. Yeah, I totally left out the part where at the second hotel, one man was out in the parking lot hawking up phlegm and spitting it all over the parking lot. And you had to like basically watch where you were stepping as you got into your car, because there was globs of it all over the place. Yeah. Not the best of trips. So anyway, but if you want to have some strange entertainment, check out that link. This Friday's video, like I said earlier, is going to be about what pattern I'm going to make my grandson's blanket out of and what yarn I end up getting. So I am going shopping, like I said, for it on Monday when Mom and I go for our grocery shopping day. I take my mother out once a week for groceries. And wherever else she needs to go. So we always stop at Walmart, and I will be checking out some yarn there. There's also a Hobby Lobby in that area, and if I don't find anything there, there is a Michael's up the road from me. And then if worse comes to worse, I will just order something online. So we'll see how it goes and what I end up with. So make sure you stay tuned on Friday's video to check out what I get. So now it's time for... Now in our Come and Get It section today, we have, first off, all of the links to these sales are down below in the description box. You just click the bold word more, and they're all listed alphabetically. There are more yarn companies and things than the ones I mention. I only mention the ones that have sales going on, but there's also ice yarns. There is, which I don't really shop at all that often because of the shipping prices. But anyway, there's ice yarn, there's Dollar Tree, which if you weren't aware, they sell yarn. You can get it in the store, but you can also order it in bulk online. So there's those two on there. There's also Jimmy Bean's wools. So those are ones I don't always talk about all that often because I tend to focus on the ones that have sales. So here we go. Mary Maxim has 25% off of yarn and kits. No coupon code needed, and the sale ends on Monday, which is March 2nd. So that is Mary Maxim. Lion Brand has 20% off if you buy 2 balls of yarn, 25% off if you buy 4 balls of yarn, 30% if you buy 6 or more balls of yarn. So that is Lion Brand. Knit Picks. I didn't really see any sales, and they will not announce their yarn of the month until Sunday, which is the 1st. So it always comes out on the 1st. They have a yarn of the month that's always 20% off. So if you want to check it out, click through the link on Sunday and you'll be able to see what the yarn of the month is. I don't know that part ahead of time. Some things I know ahead of time as their affiliate, but this one I don't. But they are having, and I didn't realize this, they are having 52 weeks of free dishcloth patterns. So if you want to check out or download some free dishcloth patterns, go over and check out the link down below. Yeah, I didn't know that they had that going on. I don't know how I missed it, but they do. So yeah, if you want some free patterns, go check it out. And lastly, I have Lovecrafts, and they have 55% off, up to 55% off in their clearance section currently. I'm not sure how long that lasts. I do know that Lovecrafts runs continuous sales. One ends, they start another one on, and they're constantly adding things to their clearance. So what you don't see today might be in there tomorrow. So it's also worth checking out. So that is it for today. I appreciate you watching. If you'd like to watch more of my videos or check things out, you can click the links that are here and anywhere on this screen, and those will take you over to some other playlists of things that we've done in the past. So thanks for watching, and I will see you again on Friday.